Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of From Struggling to Successful. Amazing stories of women who went from battling adversity to happiness and success. Today, I'm so excited to be here with Sherry Gaba. Sherry is a psychotherapist, life coach, and author, and really so much more that I want her to explain. So welcome, Sherry.
Thank you, Nancy. I love your energy, and I love being on your summit because I really believe in what you're doing, and I'm just honored to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. I want people who don't know you to know, first of all, how much you're involved in and how much you've done and your sort of celebrity status. So why don't you explain that to them?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it would be celebrity status, I guess, because I've been on television a lot. I was on Dr. Drew, VH1 Celebrity Rehab for 5 seasons. Last fall, I was on the Robert Irvine Show, which is the CW channel. And then I've been on a host of news shows, HLN, CNN, E! News, the Bio Channel, and Inside Edition. You know, anytime one of my specialties is recovery and addiction. And so when there's been these celebrity deaths, I've been called in to report on the tragic deaths that have occurred, such as Philip Seymour Hoffman and Amy Winehouse, Michael Jackson, etc. I basically do many things. I have a private practice. I still see clients one-on-one in my Westlake Village office. And then I do a lot of things over online. I do a summit like yourself, which is a recovery summit. People are interested in hearing about it, seeing it. It's at recoverytodayseries.com. And I've also created many e-courses. I'm sort of a content queen, and I love interviewing. So I've done many, many interviews. I've created many, many e-courses. And I'm an author. My book came out in 2010, The Law of Sobriety, Attracting Positive Energy for a Powerful Recovery, which basically takes the ideas of the law of attraction, which I highly believe in. And I know that it really does work if you're working it, because when I'm not working it, when things aren't coming in, I know what's going on, and those are my thoughts. So the book really basically takes people that are in recovery that maybe aren't wanting to go to a 12-step meeting and so forth. And so this is another modality for them. And then hopefully that will help them into, because I really do believe in the 12 steps. So I hope that it's sort of a way that they can start and kind of meeting them where they are. And then I have another book coming out, most likely next fall, or it could be the first of the year, which is the Marriage and Relationship Junkie, which is all about love addiction. And I'm really, really, really excited about that. That's a huge passion of mine, helping women fill their little empty hearts with something beyond believing that you must have somebody in your life to be happy and fulfilled.
Yeah, I know a lot of women like that. I might even be one of those women. I'm not sure.
Oh, I'm definitely one of those women, but I've worked at it, and I've worked at being able to differentiate when I'm going down that path or when I'm going down a whole path. And nothing to be ashamed of if you do have that issue. It's just a matter of staying awake and mindful in your life, so you don't pick the wrong partners or you stay in bad relationships.
Right. You have to recognize when you're doing that. You are a master of so many things. That's incredible.
It's kind of incredible. Just this weekend, I was on Dr. Drew's podcast speaking about trauma and addiction. That was very fun, and we got a whole bunch of views online. So that was kind of exciting. And I'm just constantly, out there spreading. Oh, I also publish a magazine, Recovery Today Magazine. People can go to recoverytodaymagazine.com, and that's all about finding hope for addicts, alcoholics, and their families.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about putting out great material and great content so that people, because people want it and they need it, and it provides healing.
They do, and like you said, people who may not have accessibility to a 12-step program live or not feel comfortable leaving their house or being seen yet, that's fantastic that they can work with you and that you provide the resources.
Nancy, it's 2017 and there's still a lot of shame around it. There's still a lot of people that, I'll sometimes do, I just did a codependency course, and I had very few people come on live they bought the course, but they weren't on the call. So what does that tell me? It tells me that a lot of people still have a lot of shame.
Yeah.
Willing to speak up about these really difficult subjects.
Yeah, I have a very good friend whose family went through an issue with heroin addiction, and it was a battle for me to say, stop hiding, because you're creating that shame that shouldn't exist. Once you share information, you find out how many other people have been through it, and it's very comforting and helps you get through it yourself. But
absolutely, you're taking the stigma out and the secret, because as they say, we're as sick as our secrets.
absolutely.
Secret out so that we can, be free. That's really where freedom exists.
I actually love that line. You're only as sick as your secrets.
It's really true. I mean, basically what it's saying is you're holding negative energy, and that negative energy is being repressed, and it can only cause havoc in your life, which can cause shame, and all of that can cause a lot of acting out, making impulsive decisions, can lead to drug and alcohol abuse. It's really unhealthy to keep that energy of shame locked up inside you.
So, Sherry, you're so right on. But tell everyone, because the series is about women who've gone from struggling to successful, and you are incredibly successful. But I know you have a story of what got you to this point and what got you interested in this subject. So why don't you share with our listeners where it all began?
Well, it kind of spoke to me, the subject. I was in a book, and you know what? I completely forgot. I was in Chicken Soup for the Soul. Tough Times, Tough People. I think that's the one. I mean, I think if you Google Tough Times, Tough People, Chicken Soup for the Soul, my whole story is in there. And basically, it started out as being a single mom, very, very, very young. Going back to school, mid-30s, to become a licensed clinical social worker. Made a lot of sacrifices to, do a program that should have taken only 2 to 4 years. Took me 5 years because I, was raising my daughter and had to work, and you have to get so many hours. You have to intern. So when I look back, I don't know how I did it, but I did. And I think I was a great inspiration for my daughter. I have a daughter who now is a very big publicist in Hollywood. So I think I modeled, hard work. So we would sit there, she would do her homework and I'd be doing my homework, and it was, just kind of the way it was. I've also had multiple marriages. I've been divorced several times. That was hugely difficult. And I was married to an alcoholic who is now sober, and we're sort of rekindling our relationship. But that was very difficult, being in the field and working with others and writing a book, and then having somebody in my own home, struggling for a couple of years. So it's been quite a journey, and it continues on. But like I said in my book, I truly believe what we put out into the universe is what we get back, and we just got to constantly remind ourselves to get rid of that half empty bucket, in our mind, because I mean, even before you and I got on this call, I was kind of going down that road, and it's like, no, you have to really keep, checking yourself out, going, why am I going down that road? It's only going to bring you more of that. We are so much more than the circumstances we're in, and everything that we desire is on its way if we just stay in that vibration. But if we're like doing all this busy work, but then believing in our heart it's never going to come to pass, there's no congruency. And so there really has to be this congruency between what I'm putting out there, what I believe, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and what I'm believing, and then receiving it.
When did you get into the law of attraction, and was that a turning point for you to get to move on from any of your marriages, or to get out of the?
I was things were great when my book first came out, and then he relapsed later on. But so the law of attraction came actually before that. What happened was, when I saw Celebrity Rehab 1 with Dr. Drew Pinksy, they didn't have a licensed therapist on the show. And I just was watching, and I said, I'm going to be on this show. I don't know how, but it's
Really?
I was like, this is it. I'm going to meet him, and I'm going to be on the show next year. And so just by a fluky thing, I did meet him. I got on his radio show. I really showed him my work and what I can do and what I'm made of. And I said, I want to be on your next Celebrity Rehab. And so I was invited for the next 4 years. Now, of course, I was just a special therapist. I wasn't on TV all the time, but I was always working behind the scenes. I probably was viewed on TV maybe 3 or 4 times. but the point is, I got on a set and I worked with these celebrities, and I just had an absolute blast doing it. And then he had another show called Sober House. I did that, and then he had another show called I think it was Sex and Love Addiction, and I was on that show as well. That show mostly behind the scenes, Sober House mostly behind the scenes. But just had a blast.
But you make it sound so easy. Oh, I decided I was going to be on that show, and then I went. I do people two things that are resonating with me. One, when people say she's such a positive person, whoever they're pointing, she's such a positive person, it comes so natural. I always say it really doesn't come natural to anyone. Everybody works hard at staying positive, keeping positive images and messages coming into their mind, and staying focused on a goal. And two, I want to know how hard you actually worked and what you had to do to get on his show. Like, so people understand.
There was I guess it was a sacrifice. I didn't see it that way, but every month I would go to his radio show for free, and I would do the radio show and got to know him and developed a relationship so that he could see my work. I don't really see that as a sacrifice. But
was it easy to get on his show, or was it something you had to really look at?
I kind of knew someone that knew someone.
Okay.
One of those things, but I don't think that's the only way. I also hired a publicist. So when my book came out, I got on all these TV shows because I went out and got a publicist. I said to myself, well, if I'm going to be on Celebrity Rehab, I also want to be the go-to expert in recovery. How do I do that? So I did hire a publicist. I did invest in myself, and ended up getting all kinds of TV appearances. So, it's been really great, and it's really helped me, spread a really powerful message to a global community, both online and on television. But I wouldn't really call myself a celebrity. I mean, I'm not recognizable, but I've definitely been on television a handful of times and more.
So what would you tell women who are struggling right now in alcoholic marriages or difficult marriages, or they're single and they have really lost touch with their own voice and with what they want to do? I've asked women, if you had no constraints in life, what do you want to do? And they're so lost, they've lost their voice completely.
Well, I would probably say you need to wake up, and you need to be aware of what is going on. I think many people are just walking around asleep and not really present. And that's the beauty of working in recovery, is that we constantly are reminded, that recovery is a one day at a time program, and it's about being present and being in the moment. And the problem is, a lot of people think that they can just hire someone to wake up, but sometimes there's early trauma. And I think if they have had early trauma, that may be what's keeping them stuck. We probably didn't expect them to go in this.
No,
direction.
That's okay.
But I think that's part of the issue, is that a lot of people will hire a coach or hire, a therapist that's just a talk therapist, and they're not really helping them with the underneath issues of trauma that need to be removed because they're blocked. That's why people are often stuck. They have all these dreams, they want to do all these things, and they are immobilized. And so one of the things that I've done with clients is something called somatic experiencing, which helps remove those energy blocks. There's a great book, people want to learn about it. It's called Waking the Tiger, and it's scientifically based. And it's just all about learning how to move that energy that no longer serves them. It's not just about having a 1 hour massage or going and having a Reiki, not that these modalities aren't great. I think Reiki's great. And I think massage is great. And I think energy healing is great, but I think it's not an overnight fix. And I think the problem is people, want an overnight fix for things that are deeply ingrained in their bodies.
You have trained yourself in so many different areas. It's incredible. You have so much to offer your clients. How do you decide when they hire you which modality you're using? I mean, you're so highly educated and so highly trained.
I've been doing this so long that I just kind of know. It's pretty easy to understand if there's early trauma. What's really interesting is people don't understand what trauma is. They think, oh, I have to be a war veteran or something like that. But, trauma can be an earthquake, a fire, a tsunami. It could be a divorce. It can be a death. It can be a loss. It can be abuse, neglect, abandonment. Parents were physically unavailable, parents that were emotionally unavailable. In my case, I was, and I share this pretty much on every telesummit because it usually will touch one person. I was preemie. I was in an incubator for 3 months. Back in the late 50s, they didn't think that your mother should hold you because they thought they might spread germs. So so I had no mother touch or attachment for 3 months, and that majorly affected my life. I mean, think about early bonding and attachment and how much we know about child development and all of that, and to not have that, think about the Romanian adoptee babies that live in orphanages for years, and they have behavioral problems and this and that. I mean, nobody really put words to what I went through until I learned this process, and it changed my life. It really woke me up.
Interesting, because my son was born with a heart anomaly, and he was whisked away from me. And I tore out of that hospital so fast with my third C-section and went into Manhattan where he was. And they were telling me, don't go. And I'm like, no way. There's no way. Because, I couldn't even hold him. He was so sick. And he's fine today, 17, healthy. But he had to have open heart surgery. And
that's a huge trauma.
And that's a huge
on him, on whatever. I don't know how, but it does have an effect.
Yeah, and it's funny. Every single one of my children are different, and I can probably name a trauma for all of them.
Right, and again, I'm not trying to over pathologize. That everybody.
Well, it affects some people probably,
but some people do have this early trauma, and they don't even know it, and they don't understand why they can't move forward. They don't understand why they keep making the same mistakes. For me, it was constantly being in the wrong relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Emptiness that I was, basically trying to get my mother's love, basically, and I was looking for it in all the wrong places. And I think if people could take a step back and understand why they're making these decisions and choices, and the first step is awareness, and the first step is waking up. And
what was your turning point?
After my ex-husband relapsed and I became addicted to getting him sober, I got shingles. I was losing my hair. I was just falling apart on every level. I had to do something very dramatic. I had to do something. The law of attraction wasn't going to work when I'm falling apart inside. So right. I had to really figure out what's going on inside to really work on having a better life on the outside. So we were separated for 4 years, and I just did a lot of work on myself. And
did you hire a mentor or a therapist or a coach or?
Great therapist, although other people, coaches can do this somatic work too, I believe. It's good to have, not good, you have to have the education in it.
Absolutely.
I remember when I got, when I was taking the course, I think there were body workers that did it. So they weren't just licensed therapists per se, but I'm not sure. You'd have to look at their directory. And it can be done it could probably be done through Skype. I've had a few clients that I've done. I'd rather do it in person, but it can be done, online too. Just find somebody that you really connect to, that has that background, that really understands trauma.
That's what I was going to ask you, if you were to give someone 3 tips if they're really just struggling, you can't seem to get out of their own way and make any progress in their life, and they don't know they keep making bad decisions or no energy. What would be the 3 tips you would give them to kickstart?
Yeah, if they keep, kind of doing this round robin, and they keep getting stuck, and they keep cycling, and the same thing keeps happening over and over again, it would be, okay, do I have this early trauma? Do I need to work on that first? Do I need to find, a really great person to help me get unstuck through this trauma? And then take the next step of, hiring an amazing life coach or a great therapist. I think that there's a place for coaches and there's a place for therapists.
I agree.
I think that we both offer so much.
Definitely. So your turning points were when you got really sick.
Yeah, I would say that. Yeah. Also being a single mother, those were turning points. I had no desire to be a single mom. I remember going to my mother and father's and knocking on their door saying, I'm moving in with my little baby here. And they're like, no, you're going back to your house and you're going to raise your daughter. We'll help you when we can, but you need to grow up. So that was kind of a wake-up call of not being enabled in any shape or form.
I was going to say, wow, that just gave me goosebumps, because that's so hard to do as a parent, but it's the right thing.
It was the right thing. I just had a situation in my own family where I had to do something with my daughter. I had to set a really clear boundary, and it was really hard because I have an amazing daughter and I would give her the world, but there are some things that I know to be in her best interest, whether she knows it or not.
Right.
So,
I think we all struggle. So many mothers struggle from that, and it takes being, at least for me, it takes being hit over the head a couple of times, rhetorically, to finally go. I shouldn't have taken that from day one, and
right.
now it's time for me to get a backbone.
That's where waking up comes in. Like what do you need to do to help yourself wake up? Does it mean taking yoga? Does it mean meditating? Does it mean taking a mindfulness course? What is it that's going to really wake you up so that you make less of those decisions that don't serve you?
I always encourage people, don't just, consistency is so important, because you might try it, nothing works for me. I know I've tried it all, but did you try one time for each thing? Did you give it a chance? Did you do your research?
Are you asking me, or
No, I'm just saying in general, women tend to, I tried that, I tried this, I tried that, none of it worked for me.
Yeah.
And giving them that strength to be consistent and choose one thing that they feel might be helpful and give it a good shot. It could take, you said it could take years.
Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. And also it's having, someone once told me when I was in graduate school, it's like an endurance test. It's basically, you just don't give up. I just don't give up. I'm on my path. I have a calling to spread, the message. Sometimes it makes me money. Sometimes it doesn't make me a lot of money, but I just stay on my path, and I know that I'm doing what I'm called to do and to serve. And I just know that everything will work out exactly the way it's supposed to, because I'm on my path. You just have to stay on your path.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I really and I have another business, and I just sat down one day and said, what did I always really want to do? And I just have to go back to basics and start from scratch, and that's okay at any age.
Oh, absolutely, any age. I'm 58 years old. I wrote a book, came out when I was, let's say 2010. So that was 7 years ago. I was 52. I don't know, kind of like numbers.
That's what I am right now.
Yeah, I was early 50s. I didn't get on Celebrity Rehab till I was like probably 48, 49. I didn't go back to school till I was 35. It's never too late. It's just never too late. I did
never too late.
Years ago. I was 56. I don't feel, I wish sometimes I was younger and I would have, more time, but I just stay on this is just the path that was was given to me with my, with what I believe in to be true for me.
And it makes you want to get out of bed in the morning and actually go to work because you love what you do.
I love what I do. It's never been, really about the money. I'm an LCSW. I'm a social worker. So that was never about money. But, we have to get paid for what we're worth, of course. And I think a lot of women struggle with that. And I think we struggle with it, and then we get good at it, and we struggle with it because that's just who we are.
Right.
It's just like we're organically, this is just who we are. It's very difficult to get paid for what you are worth. It's a very difficult concept that I think we all grapple with.
It's more difficult for women. I don't know. We are definitely wired to say, is that okay? Exactly. This is what I'm charging. Is that okay? And I always train women to go, you don't need to ask if that's okay. That's what you're worth. That's what you deem the value of your time or your product, and you can actually choose not to work with somebody too.
Or you could have both. I take clients with insurance that don't pay quite as much, and then I have life coaching clients that pay more.
Right.
I sell a course, or, it comes in different ways. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. I think people think it's one way or the other. Power to anybody that, have these great packages and they charge these outrageous amounts. Great. If that's what they want to do, that's great. For me, I like kind of having all the above. I like to be kind of a concierge of different things.
Yeah, me too. I call it a ladder of services.
I love that, a ladder of services. So you're helping everybody, and you're the most important thing, Nancy, is staying true to who you are and your values and your integrity. And that's the bottom line. And so I also give a lot. Like I get a lot of requests for testimonials, endorsements. I just help somebody, give them a whole list of all kinds of experts that I thought would be great for their podcast. I think
you did that for me. I think you had given me a list of people for this.
Okay. I didn't realize that, but I actually did that again this morning. I think it's really important to give and not, necessarily have an attachment to what's going to come from that. You just give and you
I
just,
agree. I think I always tell, one of my things is they don't hire you for information, they hire you for implementation.
yeah,
I can literally tell someone exactly what they need to do. And if they can do it, I'm so happy for them. But if they get to a stumbling block where they need, someone to help them set their goals or help them get to the next step or create a ladder of services, whatever it is, running a business and a life together for women can get very muddled. But same with you. You're giving them information, but when they actually start having to implement information that you're giving, it could get hard, and that's when they need your help.
yeah. I mean, we're just giving them direction. We're holding their hands.
Right.
We all need a mentor. We all need somebody to believe in. We all need support. We're not supposed to do this whole thing alone.
Right.
Really.
I think that's the most dangerous thing, is to be alone and trying to work it all by yourself. Everybody needs a support system.
For sure.
So Sherry, I know that you have a free gift for our listeners. You want to explain what that is?
I think you'll have the link, right, on your website.
Yes, I have the link on the page.
So basically, if you want to just learn about me, go to sherrygaba.com. That's fine. But if you want the free gift, it's a celebrity branding quiz. It's whether or not it's a media expert quiz. It's basically, do you have what it takes to become a media expert? And so it's a quiz, and then you get an ebook that talks about, do you have what it takes to be a media expert?
What do you mean a media expert?
Somebody that would be on television or be interviewed for their
Oh.
Like, for instance, somebody needs, a business coach. They would contact Nancy, or somebody works with ADD children. There would be an ADD specialist, or somebody who, whatever their expertise is. My expertise has been recovery. So I'm a media expert in recovery. So when there is some sort of story out in the media about, like I was on the Bio Channel, like I said, I was on those different TV shows because different celebrities have passed away from addiction, they're going to call me. So a lot of people want to celebritize their brand. And so by being on television, but even doing what you're doing here, like a telesummit or having your own podcast or a radio show, you don't have to be on TV to have a celebrity brand.
Right.
Now, you're a celebrity just because you are a specialist in your chosen field.
I'm a celebrity in my own world, Sherry. In my own mind.
I do mean that. I mean, if you're doing a radio show or a summit or a podcast or whatever it is, or you're publishing an online magazine or whatever, all the different things that I've done, or doing courses, that you're a celebrity of your specialty.
Right.
And that's what the quiz is all about.
I actually like that. I feel like it gave, you just saying that gave me confidence. And I think anyone who looks at themselves, no matter what field they're in, if they look at themselves as a celebrity in their job,
in their
chosen field, it makes them more confident.
I mean, the quiz definitely asks questions about whether or not you can handle, how thick is your skin, kind of thing. Because when you can go do an interview and you probably won't get paid, or you can go do an interview and you'll lose income because you spent 4 hours driving and doing the interview. And do you have what it takes to do that? I mean,
right.
Those are important questions. So that's really what the quiz is all about. And
I thank you for that. And I hope everyone opts into it, because one, I just think it can be fun too, to figure that out. What was your favorite thing that you've done so far in your career?
Oh gosh, I think doing Celebrity Rehab, working with celebrity addicts and knowing that if they didn't have the show to be on, they might not have gotten sober. A lot of people think, oh, they're just celebrities and they have all this money, but actually the celebrities that were on Celebrity Rehab actually needed that show to get sober. So it was such a privilege to work with people that really wanted help, needed help. And then, of course, working alongside the famous Dr. Drew Pinksy was, just incredible, because he's just one of the brightest addictionologists that I know. So I had a blast, and I would say that's been the most fun in my career. And I guess getting a book out, having a book come out. First day your book is in a bookstore and you see it there, and that's kind of thrilling, I would say.
I think you're fantastic, and I think your growth and your awareness of yourself can be so helpful for so many people here. So I really appreciate you being here.
It's a journey, and we're still growing. We don't just get there. It's a process.
No, and it's impressive that because some people don't want to share their journey because they're like, well, that was my past and I only look forward. And I just look at it like, you know what? I've been through a divorce too, and I've had 3 sick kids, and I've had issues in my life and continue to have challenges and obstacles, as I like to call them. If I don't share how I get through it, then I'm not giving and I'm not letting anyone learn from me.
Yeah, you're not being authentic.
I'm not being authentic.
This is all about is being authentic with who you truly are.
Right. And I learn from you and someone else learns from me, and that's how it all goes.
Right, right.
So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to say goodbye to you and goodbye to our listeners. Again, I'm Nancy Ganzekaufer, life and business coach, specializing in communication and sales training. And you can find me at nancyganzekaufer.com. And I hope to see you all soon on the next episode. Thank you. Bye, Sherry.